Hey Sapphire, good morning. We're going to take a look at the video titled Photo Op. And I just listened to the first couple minutes of it. It's an old one. Hey Spacebound. When I was searching for the video about the nursing program that, as far as I can tell, didn't exist, I saw the Photo Op video and I thought, you know what? Let's go ahead and take a look at that one. I listened to a couple minutes of it and I'm complaining about the shiners. So we'll suffer through that for a little bit and then we'll get started with the video. I'll go ahead and click play and then we can talk about it. Hey guys, I want to start off by giving a shout out to the shiners and I want to encourage them, instead of just showing up on our channel to post your hateful and vile threats that you know are going to end up in the trash bin. So why do you keep doing it, really? But instead of doing that, instead of spending your time that way, why don't you brave up and actually join the discussion? If you don't like my opinions, if you don't like some of these photos, if you don't like our discussion on this channel, then you realize that there's something noticeably absent from the discussion, right? What is noticeably absent are people who are actually discussing why they disagree with our opinions. From day one, the shiners have refused to take part in any discussion on this case. I think it's because they don't even know the details of the case. I think all they know is that if they can bash Miss Mensah, then it'll get them some new views and some new subs and maybe a few dollars. How sad is that? That they're using the deaths of 2 innocent children to try to make some quick cash. So here's my shout out for the shiners. Please research the case and then join the discussion and tell us why you disagree with our opinions. And we'll be happy to discuss the case with you. We'll have to clean up your language, of course, and leave the threats at the door and actually discuss the case. So give it a try. You might like it. And it might actually add to your credibility if we can take part in a discussion with you instead of just watching all of your vile attacks against us all over social media. So just a thought, I think you should probably pick your 2 or 3 most intelligent people in the group and, make a few new fake profiles and all, of course, and join in. Because so far we haven't seen anybody offering any support at all for their claims when they try to bash us for discussing the case. So I hope at least one of them takes us up on this offer, because seriously, if they are so opposed to our opinions, then what's the problem? Join in. Let's discuss it. But my hunch is they won't. My hunch is they'll just continue with their threatening, vile comments, because it's easier that way. And remember, their goal isn't about learning about this case. It seems their goal is actually trying to make a few dollars and probably to see their reflection and to say that there's some sort of star. So let's get started. Okay, January, what does that say? January 16, 2015. Wore her out this morning between the gym, the doctor, and the mall. Covered her eyes like a face mask. I don't think that this little baby put her headband down over her face. I truly don't. I don't think that's normal. I don't think that's true. I think her mother put that over her face, and I think it's one of many disturbing photos where her mother thought it was so funny or so cute to have her baby's faces covered. June 15 of 2018. Hey, Sharon. Hey, Susie. You said that it's breaking up and it sounds weird, so I'll just go ahead and read the slides if I can. Let's see here. I thought the first one was the headband one, right? So where is it? There it is. Hey guys, I want to start off by giving away. Okay, here's the headband one. Good morning, Amanda. Okay, so here's the headband one, and it says, I'll click to my own. It says, January 16, 2015, wore her out this morning between the gym, doctor, and mall. Covered her eyes like a face mask. Silly girl. Okay, one, if you think that the baby put the headband on her face. Two, if you think her mother did. Just my opinion, but I highly doubt the baby put the headband over her own face. I highly doubt that's true. I also highly doubt that they went to the gym. To the doctor? Yes. To the mall? No doubt. To the gym? I doubt it. I'm trying to get to the next screen here. Look at all the time I wasted talking about the shiners. Jeez. Okay, I've got to work that first. User error. Oh my gosh. Instead of seriously? Okay, tick on. Here's the next one. Wow, that was hard. Okay, now I'll read this one. It says, if I can read it, it's really tiny. Let me try to make it bigger. It says June 15, and it looks like, is it? What is that? What year is that? It looks like it's 2018. I don't know what day Father's Day was on that year, but pretty much in the middle of June, right? June 15, 2018. Thank goodness for this. And then she lists off one of the products that she promotes. In my purse. I was about to hurt someone. I was so hungry. And then hashtag baby hungry. Right. June 15, baby hungry. She says she was about to hurt someone because she was so hungry. Okay, here's the next one. Click that off. Let's take a look at what it says. June 15, 2018. Well, Celeste didn't break a body part. Mom, on the other hand, really hurt her pinky saving Celeste. Wrapped it with a DFT last night into this morning, and it helped with the inflammation and discomfort. Hashtag ouch. She wrapped it with a DFT. So the DFTs are also first aid products. Aren't they supposed to not use any sort of claims? Isn't that one of the main rules, is to not claim any medical uses? Kathy Jo says, see, they are Band-Aids. Good point, Kathy Jo. Good point. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's see what the next one says. Somebody said, what happened? And there were 2 likes on the comment of somebody asking what happened. By the way, I noticed something on this one. There were 5 shares. 5. 5 shares. Okay? Think about that. Christopher Watt's wife replied, caught her from falling off couch. She had 4 likes. That's it. We've been told for 2.5 years how she had such a huge following. She had 4 likes. Then the person asked, you okay? And she said yes. And her reply saying yes got 2 likes. So what is all this about the huge following? I'm taking a look to see Sapphire's question. She said, may I ask a question that may sound dumb to others? And Spacebound said, Sapphire, go ahead. I see it all, said, yeah, right. She followed herself. LOL, lots of love. We have seen in her Facebook post where she did like her own comments. Sharon says she was successful and popular. LMAO. And keep in mind, this screenshot would have been taken after the tragedy. And there were people hopping right on there and liking a lot of her stuff, right? But this one was evidently missed. Okay, we're still waiting for your question, Sapphire. Everybody look at Sapphire. Carly says, Sapphire, there are no dumb questions, only dumb answers. Thomas Savage says, Shannon seemed to live in a fairy tale with her family. Image, with her family. Image seemed to be her main focus, and nothing could come in between that image she betrayed. Well, I'm kind of curious about the whole falling off the couch excuse, because wasn't there another post that said that she saved her from falling on the cement? Right? Oh, I missed it, Sapphire. Okay. Okay, here we go. There it is. How did she know the gender? Excuse me. How did you know the gender of the baby so soon? I had to wait till 20 weeks unless she had an test. Well, in my opinion, I don't think she knew the gender of the baby. But that's just my opinion. And that's a good question. And of course, Sapphire, good question. I think a lot of us have been asking for 2.5 years. Remember, you guys, she didn't go to her OBGYN appointments. Yeah. She went to some ultrasound supposedly at a strip mall. Yeah, right? Okay, let's go to the next one here. Arrow and should go into the next one. Okay, here we go. Stop. Oops. Oh, how did that happen? No. Where did it go? What's going on here? Okay, we did that one, about to hurt someone. Falling off couch. There it is. Okay, stop. Okay. This one, wait, let me look at comments quick. Spacebound says that's questionable if she actually did know or could. Susie says, I think this is way more. I think she took her own life as I don't think she would be able to deal with the failure of the Wonder Woman she made out to be. Amanda says, I think the word saved is interesting. Kids fall all the time. You just pick them up and make sure they are okay and move on. I never considered it saving mine or thought to post about it. Amanda, that is a very interesting point. Your insight, I think, is very, in my opinion, spot on. If you paid attention to the details of this case, you'll see that Christopher Watt's wife uses the death language. Everything is strangle, right? Everything is kill. Everything is, death, dying, severe anaphylactic, attempted to murder my daughter, right? And so, of course, she saved Celeste. But there's a photo of Celeste with a pretty big egg on her noggin, taken right around the same time. It's like, yeah, really? Hi, I'm stumbling here with an easy word. How is it that she ended up with a bruise on her pinky like that? If she saved Celeste, right? Was it from the couch or was it from the cement because there are different posts about both. Thomas says, did anyone from Facebook ever report this? Good question. And I noticed, the shares. It's interesting that people were sharing it. Spacebound says, I think she lost the baby. Wait, was that Spacebound or Susie? Let me scroll up and see. Oh, it was Sharon. Okay, wait, I missed Spacebound. Spacebound said, I think she lost control and knew it was for real this time. Sharon said, I think she lost baby and I'm going to eat cake while I ponder on that. Is it chocolate, Sharon? Sapphire says, all the baby boy name here stuff was just to try to get Chris around. She was trying everything except what he needed, in my opinion. Spacebound says, Amanda, I never did that either. It's very odd language. Explorer says, it just proved she couldn't stop posting 24/7, always on her mind. Susie says, oh, cake, LOL, lots of love. I can't eat just now. Had a tooth extraction this morning. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry, Susie. Sharon says, ouch, Susie. Thomas says, is it possible Shannon abused kids and posted on social media that it was something else like falling off the couch? She fell and busted her lip, etc. Susie says, Sharon, root canal at 2:30. Oh my goodness. Kathy Jo, more like hitting something, wall, etc. caused her pinky bruise. Thank goodness for that. Band-aid. Might have lost that finger without it. I see it also as Thomas Savage. Yes, I've always thought that cover your ass was her mindset. She wasn't a very honest person. Sharon says, oh, poor you. No, it's a Victoria sponge that was reduced at the shop. You guys are funny. Okay, the next one, let's see. Let's take a look at the next one. It says 14 months old. And it says on September 23rd of 2016, it says that Shannon Watts is feeling ready. Feeling ready? And then it lists the dental group and orthodontics with Bella Marie and 2 others. It says Celeste's first dentist visit brought on early from her busting her mouth yesterday. I see many of these accidents, visits in the future. Hashtag accident prone. Let's see, where was I? In the comments. Looks like we're up to Nurse Stars already. Okay. Did anyone catch the Jeremy L video on the other crime channel? I noticed his opinion changed tremendously, and he didn't state his feelings as he did in the first one about SW. He spoke truth then. Susie says, at Nurse, many have changed opinion now, LOL. Spacebound says, no, that's probably abuse. I didn't see any video of Jeremy L changing his opinion. That's very interesting if he has, because the interview that he gave the first time was after they had already disappeared, right? I guess obviously they wouldn't have been interviewing him. So that's interesting that he would have changed his opinion. Could it be that he was being harassed to such a degree that he decided to maybe backpedal on his opinion? I don't know. But here's another thing. I've learned not to trust a lot of the stuff that we're seeing, because even with all those videos that are supposedly leaked from the prison and everything that we've been seeing, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's one of the nuances of this case discussion. And the question is, why on earth is the truth so hard to come by in the case of Christopher Watts? Let's see what the next slide looks like. Hi, Brenda. We're just working our way through one of the old videos, one of the vintage Miss Mensa videos. We should call it one of the classics, I think. Oh, it's buffering. It'll take a minute here. Wait, let me see. Bling is the new black, said Nurse Tara. That's the video I mentioned a few days ago, I believe. Bling, wasn't that the one that you said that it sounds like his wife thought that it was her? Spacebound says, who is Jeremy L? He was the boss, I think, at the car dealership that Christopher Watts worked at. And then he also remained, he and his wife remained friends since they moved to Colorado right up until 2018. And I'm not sure, but I think it was his daughter who was babysitting that Saturday night. And I also think it was, wasn't it his house where the birthday party was the day before? Correct me if I'm wrong, you guys, on any of the above. Thomas says there were cameras everywhere in the house. People do have baby monitors, but to have monitors in the Watts bedroom and directly over the children's beds seems to be they were monitoring Shanann. Except I call her Shannon because, in my opinion, if that's her birth name, that's what I'll call her. Carla says, they all do, MM. You're the only one who is being honest from the beginning. I am the same. The backpedaling thingy, you mean, Carla? Oh, wow, it just flipped up really fast. Hold on, I'm missing a few. Yeah, name one channel. Just please, if you can, name one channel that the channel creator hasn't flip-flopped. Susie says, I've not been watching a lot of stuff over the last few days. It's all drama. I'm the same way, Susie. I haven't watched anything, and I love it. Thomas, when she is home alone and with the kids, like when is that ever, Thomas? I'm not sure she ever was home alone with the kids. I think she claimed to be sometimes. Lisa says, hey, Lisa. Lisa says, babysitter, father, and neighbor? Oh, I didn't think that he lived nearby. Brenda, aka Andrea, don't tell anyone, says, I love the recaps. Nurse Tara says, opinions change all the time with this case. Strange, indeed. So glad I caught your morning live. I am glad that you caught the morning live too, Nurse Tara. I always love your comments. You always get us to think. Riley says, I didn't know Jeremy L. had another interview. That's too bad that he changed his story. Riley, Jeremy L. is the one who said that he did not believe that Christopher Watts' wife's health challenges were physical. He also said that all she had to do was see a commercial for a new medical illness, condition, disease, or whatever, and she would start claiming she had that one too. Robin says, good morning to all. Good morning, Robin. Nurse Tara says, yes, it was the video someone in here mentioned. Yes. And then she says the name. Their first friends that weren't from, in Colorado. Amanda says, Emma, maybe you talked about it and missed it. I've been super busy, but what is your opinion on this new claim that Lana has obtained a firm to represent Christopher Watts, even giving the firm's name. Well, I hadn't heard that, Amanda, but I don't think that one person can obtain a firm to represent somebody else. That isn't how it works in the real world. Spacebound. Back to what Amanda just asked, I did receive an email from somebody telling me that it is being rumored around that Jay is going to be making $100,000 a year and that Jamie is going to be doing weekly podcasts and stuff all associated with Lana. I guess I saw the email and just kind of thought, really? Okay. Spacebound says, oh, okay, I thought it was, and then you guys put the name in there. Don't put the name in there, you guys. Just put Jeremy, okay? Let's not act like, you know what I'm saying. You guys are cute. Nurse Tara, yes, that's them. Oh, you guys are so cute. Goodness me. And then it just scrolled up really fast, you guys. Okay. Bear with me here. Yes, that's them. Their daughter babysat, and they were the last people who saw the girls alive. Kathy just says, I don't understand how it's easier for some to believe that there's a huge conspiracy involving multiple agencies and about 50 people, but can't even consider that she could have had mental issues. That's a very good point, Kathy Joe. Yep, that's a very good point. Especially all the NK and Jim and all of those, conspiracy theorists. It's interesting that they can, create these elaborate schemes, right? But how dare you suggest Munchausen by proxy, right? Sharon is doxing her daughter now. Giving you a hard time, Sharon. Sharon says that her daughter's name is Shannon. Trying to scroll down here without having it fly really fast. Come on. Bling says that they live 2 miles apart. Okay, there it is. Riley said that Jeremy said in the first interview that their first thought was Shannon when he found out what had happened. Thomas says, I think she changed names to fraud credit agencies. Isabel says her name is Shannon. Her own mother, Mother Ruse, called her Shannon in court. Susie says, you, MM. Nurse Tara says, you're the only one who has not flip-flopped. Seriously, I mean, I'm trying to think of any channel creator who has not flip-flopped, and I can't think of one. Some flip-flop more than others, and more often than others. But they all flip-flop. Which, what does it tell you? What, are they just trying to say what they think will get them more subs or something? If that's the case, then how do you believe anything they say, right? Sharon says, I saw a bit of the L's interview. He seems to have changed since the first one, so I clicked off. Says, all of it. I don't understand what people don't see from her Facebook videos. The truth is the truth. Ness says, I only found your channel recently, but I never believed the narrative. but out. But I love listening and pondering. Oh, I'm sorry. I said butt out. It says put out. Oh my gosh. And Brenda's laughing at me. I love you too, Brenda, aka Andrea. Explorer says, Carla, I agree. They are delusional. I don't know who, but Explorer agrees. Susie, I switched off Lana's on CK. She said from Monday she couldn't speak of the case, but a few days later she's on CK's channel. Space Fun says, I was just trying to remember the names. I have an OCD deal with forgetting names. Carla says, I have 2 daughters and 3 grandchildren. If anyone crosses the line, I'll tell them whether they are my children or children-in-law. Brown Eyed Girl says, good morning, Brown Eyed Girl. Susie says, it's actually shocking. People are following and taking pictures of a woman that's meant to be NK. What? What do you mean? Is that something new in the last few days? I haven't seen anyone doing that. I mean, I haven't seen any videos yet of people doing that. Amanda says, I thought it was a bizarre claim as well, but that is what they are claiming. She said it was the law office, and she gives a name of a law office. Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? If they're saying that Lana hired someone for Christopher Watts. And I'm wondering if the law office told Lana to get off YouTube. Maybe. I don't know. Spacebound says, one is all over the place. It's suspicious. Sharon says, subs and views. Exactly. That's what they want, subs and views. Go ahead and say whatever they want to say, whatever they need to say to get their subs and their views. Ness says, she's laughing at me to the point of tears, laughing at you reading my comment, but out. I'm laughing with you, babe. Nurse Tara says, I don't know why it's so difficult to believe that she would have done this. CW is covering for someone, in my opinion. SW's Facebook and life was all a facade. Nothing was real and no family is that perfect. I don't even think it looked that perfect. I'm just saying. That was her goal. That was her intention to make it look that way, but I don't think she achieved that goal. Spacebound says, yes. Susie says, yeah, that Larry has pics of a woman he thinks is NK. Oh my goodness. You know, if it is NK, I hope she, I hope she's, I don't know. If it is NK and he's taking pictures of her and posting them, I really hope that her lawyer meets his lawyer. Actually, it wouldn't even be her lawyer meeting his lawyer. I think it'd be the police meeting him. How dare everybody go on and on and on about NK? Seriously, how dare they? I mean, it's just ridiculous. You guys know that the NK theory was totally, absolutely discussed thoroughly in 2018 and set to the side because everybody knows NK involved at all. But it looks like that's how they're getting, like Sharon said, their subs and their views. Brown Eyed Girl says, Susie, I saw that. Forget the channel. I don't know what it is. Riley says, I don't know if it's really her, though. Susie says, even the creators have drama between them. It's absolutely bizarre. Yeah, evidently they all think they're a star or something and they're going to compete for their, stardom. Sharon says, oops, Sharon said something and it went scrolling up really fast. Okay, here it is. Sharon says, hasn't Lana Lou just done a live with CK. CK's voice grates on me. Oh my goodness. Well, if any of you think that Lana and CK haven't been connected from early on, I think you might be wrong. I think that early on, remember those two Facebook groups claiming to have 15,000 members right away? I think Lana, KK, all of them, CK, all of them, Jamie, all of them have probably done, and even Jay. I know on the surface we're supposed to believe that Jay's not a friend of another one, right? CK and Jay supposedly broke up or whatever. Yeah, okay. Just think about it. Subs and views, like Sharon said. Subs and views. I highly doubt that CK and Lana just started talking about whatever they're planning, right? Sharon says, I can't watch her. Spacebound says he knows by the license plate or some BS. Wow. Susie says, I hope she sues the lot of them. Nurse Tara says, they need to leave NK alone. Exactly, Nurse Tara, I agree. And she should file one heck of a lawsuit for harassment and slander. I absolutely agree. Amanda says, I've seen the NK pics too. LOL. Lots of love. How embarrassing to whoever it really is. Just trying to grocery shop, and now her pic is being critiqued by so many. Oh, Busy Mom 2 says it was never debunked. You mean the NK thing? Really? Okay, whatever. Yes, it was. Robin says, why is it so hard for people to believe SW did it, but have no problem believing CW did it? Because he's a monster and she's a saint. Don't you know, Robin? Because if you think anything else, then they're going to try to scrub your comments from the internet so that everyone can just see he's a monster, she's a saint. Sharon says, LOL, lots of love. I call her Lana Lou, LOL. You guys are silly. Okay, Nurse Tara, you can't debunk Mensa. Everything she talks about is from SW's own personal Facebook post, her own words. Well, anyway, I was going to say Spacebound's comment here. But first, I'll say to what Nurse Tara said, you can debunk me, probably just not during our live chat, because, why would you? Anyway, okay, Spacebound. Amanda, and you can see some goofy guy in reflection of her window in those pics of NK. Carla, I disagree. Don't know why, but I do. I guess it's the lying she did about NK. You mean about deleting messages and stuff like that? I don't know. Sharon says, yeah, because causing drama by who fell out with who will generate views, I think. But they are all mates, really. Yes, they are, Sharon. They're all connected. And evidently it's, in vogue to pretend like you really like Miss Mensa and you want to be her friend and you want to email her regularly and you want to just be really supportive and kind, right? Because she's being harassed. And then it turns out that's one of their little tricks. So let's see here. Thomas says, what about the photo of the doll and the blanket? Was Shannon warning Chris this could be the consequences? Well done, Miss Mensa. Someone needs to help Cindy get a fair case highlighting these issues. Spacebound, Robin, because everyone thinks she was so cool and they want to be just like her. That's how I see it anyway. Which, just my opinion, you guys, but if that is a role model, if that is a role model to have sick children, a doormat husband, and to have your career be signing up for multiple MLMs, if that's a role model, and to also have a car you can't afford that's not even in your name because you evidently don't have a job or an income or a credit rating in order to get the car in your name, even though you're claiming that you actually earned the car, why was that car in Christopher Watt's name? Why was that lease in Christopher Watt's name? Is that the role model that young people are looking at going, oh, I want to be upside down in a house. I want to be upside down in home equity. I want to be upside down in owing on a lease payment that I can't afford. I want to have a stack of credit cards that are maxed out. I want to stay at home all day on Facebook begging for people's mailing address so I can send them a sample and get a point for this MLM that I'm trying to convince people is my new career, right? While my kids are being taken to daycare and are in daycare full time. Is that the role model our young people are looking at going, oh, wow, that could be me? I hope not. I mean, it's kind of scary. When you think about it, it's kind of scary. But as time goes on, it's less. And that reminds me of Bling. Thank you so much, Bling. I just said as time goes on, which is one of my favorite songs, right? Color My World by Chicago. And then Bling was so sweet. She sent me a really cool thing with Chicago on the front. So thank you, Bling. I think I've said thank you a couple times, but it's been a while. So thank you again. Okay. Let me scroll back up here. I think the answer to that question seriously is, and I think a lot of people do think that we've seen it right in the comments. Oh, wow, she had it all. Oh, wow, she had the perfect life. Perfect life? Really? Did she graduate from high school? We don't know. Did she even attend one class at any college? We don't know. Right? And I'm not saying you have to have an education. Okay, so don't go down that road. Did she ever own her own business? Did she ever set any goals as an adult and achieve those goals? Right? You see what I'm saying? The role model is what? To stay at home all day, all week, while your husband works and while your kids are in daycare full time, begging strangers on social media to let you have their home address so you can send them a sample of something that they probably are not at all interested in receiving, right? And then having to lie over and over again, evidently, about all of her false claims, right? Was she cured or not? I mean, if you're cured, right? Why did she tell some people she was cured and other people she was in remission, right? And I don't know about you guys, but I don't think she had any of those illnesses or diseases at all. Okay, I'm scrolling here. Let's see. Oh, wait a minute. I'm way further up. Hold up. Okay, here's one. Brown Eyed Girl says that Plunder had a video on Ashley Banfield. She tried to broach the subject of the Watts family dynamic and they fired her and deleted most of the videos. Well, that's what I thought in 2018, but I think she is still connected to this same I don't know what to call them, channels, I'll say. So I don't know. And when I saw her appear on one of the channels, it seemed to me like she was reading a pretty well-written script. Just saying, it seemed like she was kind of reading it, as opposed to it maybe actually being her own opinion. I think she was reading something that she was expected to say. Nurse Tara says the only thing NK is guilty of is doinking her married coworker. And Nurse Tara, I agree, but I would take it a step further to say the only thing NK is guilty of is doinking her coworker. Because I think that by the time that Christopher Watts and his coworker started doinking, that marriage was over. I think his wife knew it. And remember, she told the hairstylist that she was getting divorced and looking forward to being single again. So I think that NK probably believed they were separated and getting divorced. And I think for all intents and purposes, they were already separated and getting a divorce. But yeah, she shouldn't have doinked them. You know, she should have waited, which is good advice for you ladies, right? If the guy you're doinking is married, okay, then you might want to call and make sure that the divorce action has been filed. Better yet, wait until the final hearing takes place, right? I mean, come on, really? But anyway, I do believe that's the only thing that NK was guilty of, was maybe not investigating a little further as to the status of his divorce, right? Before doinking him. Amanda says, I've seen the NK pics too, LOL. Lots of love. How embarrassing. To, oh, I already read that. Blah, blah, blah. Sorry. Oh my gosh, I'm way too high up here. Let's see. I'm not high. I'm way too high up on the chat. That didn't sound right when I said it. Yes, and I'm seeing Thomas's comment again that I already read. The photo of the doll is very weird. Very weird. And then I took off on the tangent with Spacebound's comment about everyone thinking she was so cool and wanted to be just like her. Nurse Tara says, yes, that photo of the doll covered up with a blanket was not from CW. He did not take pics and post online. That was his wife's deal. Spacebound says, Carla, who didn't lie? Nurse Tara says, Carla, who lies? Carla says, Spacebound, exactly. Carla says, Nurse Tara, NK. Spacebound says, I know, right, Carla? Oop, and it did the scroll thing. Ah, come on. Where is it? Where is it? I don't want to miss. Oh, you guys are faster than I am. I'll try to go faster. Ah. Okay, here it is. Nurse Tara, Mensa, right. What was so role modelish about that? Absolutely not a thing. Miss CD, hey, we are up early. Nurse Tara, Carla, oh, okay. Spacebound, that's what they say, MM. She was just a hardworking stay-at-home mom. Paul says, I am still wondering whether she was mentally unwell or knew that she was delusional and was happy to lie to herself and others. I see it all says SW was a complete loser and she knew it. That's why she was acting all the time. Brown Eyed Girl says, NA said in one of her videos, she quit Thrive for a year during cancer treatments. Her doc told her not to take it. Aw. Sharon said, I'm sorry, I don't call that work. I agree with you, Sharon. It isn't work. It's called signing up for a bunch of MLMs. Bling says, LOL, did you ever get it? Yes, I almost said Sharon. Yes, Bling, I did. Thank you so much. That was very sweet of you. Nurse Tara says, CW was more of a role model, not so much now, but just saying. He had it all until he met SW. She squeezed him dry. Curious, he says, I laughed so hard when a certain person commented on the NK photo. We need to check the gait. GAIT, meaning the walk, you know what I'm saying. Amanda says, to me, SW seemed like a sad person that needed constant validation. I'm curious to know her root issue and where it came from. Miss CD says, the crib video with Cece was my biggest trigger. Bella hollering in background for mommy, and SW sounded like she was on something. Jack says, this is my free therapy. Aw. Riley says, what a role model. Brown Eyed Girl says her goal was to earn the next lifestyle getaway. Yeah, and I highly doubt those were free. Miss CD says, Amanda, me too. What kind of abuse did SW suffer, or is it all mental illness? Nurse Tara says those getaways and thrive parties were what she lived for. It looks fun, but if it's too good to be true, then it is. Spacebound said, oh, and she wasn't a stay-at-home mom, of course. Jack says, boy, am I glad I have Thrive on my side. Riley says, she was, I think the people she was only able to have, what? Oh, she was telling people that she was only able to have kids because of Thrive, really? Miss CD says, I meant abuse in Southwest in SW's childhood. Susie says, I'm listening, but can't type as on the move. Lydia says, hi, MM, and all in chat. Hi, Lydia. Juicy says, one. Nurse says, isn't journalism trying to get down to the truth and not covering crap up? I don't get it. Up. You know what? It scrolled really fast. I'm going to go to the more recent ones. Brown Eyed Girl says, the babysitter who stayed with the kids while Chris was on his date and SW was in Arizona said the house was a mess. That's a FU at his wife, and then pulls the truck in the driveway that morning. I do think that's what happened that morning when he decided to pull the truck in. I think he was like, I'm not going to keep on being her peon. And then I think that's when she woke up and ripped off her fry patch. And within the next 20 minutes, all hell broke loose. Nurse Tara said, I agree, men said that marriage was over, but too bad it wasn't legally complete and they could have all moved on. Tragedy. Jack says he threw that book SW ordered him in the trash. LMAO. Lots of love. WTF? Well, that's fantastic. Well, and do we even know if he threw it in the trash? Who knows, right? Because I'm learning after 2.5 years. We have to basically question everything. But I would say, who the hell was she to order him a book, right? And didn't she order two, one for herself and one for him? Or she had one already? And then didn't she and her friend highlight different things in the book on that weekend to decide what she should be discussing with him? I mean, are you kidding me? What is this, like groupthink for how to try to get your doormat back under control? You know, I'd toss the book in the trash too. If he even did, who knows if he did? Probably somebody else put it in there and they're like, oh, look at that. He threw the book away. I want you guys to keep in mind, she was calling his father stupid. She was telling him that his father was stupid. She was telling him that his mother was evil, okay? Stupid and evil. And at the same time, she's saying that she's trying to work on her marriage, right? I wonder if that book that he put in the trash had a chapter that maybe she could have benefited from that may have been titled something like, "Don't call your mother-in-law evil," or "Don't call your father-in-law stupid," you know? Cornelia says, "I have a question, Miss Mensah." And here's the question from Cornelia. Do you believe this could have been avoided? Of course it could have been avoided. If Christopher Watts had spent his time in the 5 weeks that he was able to get sleep and not be hammered, and I don't mean hammered drunk, because I know some people use hammered for drunk. Not be hammered, I mean like bashed or battered or whatever, directly, physically in the same space, right? I mean, over the phone, I'm sure he took a bashing. But if he would have used those 5 weeks to get a lawyer, to file for divorce, to gather up all the evidence he needed, to get a place to live, to meet with the lender, because you guys know about the second quitclaim deed, right? If you don't, dig in and do some research, because I'll tell you, it's pretty interesting what transpired before the tragedy. But to answer your question, Cornelia, yes, it could have been avoided. Christopher Watts should have reached out for help in that 5-week time frame that his wife and children were in North Carolina without him. And in my opinion, he should have filed for custody and he should have fought like hell. Paul says it's interesting that she was the only one to use the word murder pre-tragedy. Lydia says, I wish CW would tell the truth now, out of respect for little Bella and Cece. And so do I, Lydia. And it really bothers me that their own father, evidently, I mean, whatever happened, happened. But how dare he? How dare he sit there and say the things that he said in that February interview? How dare he? You know, I use the word scumbag, right? Well, as far as I'm concerned, since that February interview, for sure, he's right up there with the rest of them. Jax makes a good point. You know, everyone's bashing Cindy Watts for not going to that wedding, right? Jax just made a really good point. Cornelia, yeah, could have been avoided if CW hadn't attended his wedding. Why didn't he pay attention to his family members? It wasn't just Cindy Watts. Why didn't he pay attention to his cousins and all of his other relatives? And why didn't he care that his sister was fired from the bridal party? It's all pretty weird, if you ask me, that he was already so dim to what the hell was going on right before his eyes. Here's Paula. Good morning, Paula. Cornelia says, oh, I'm clicking on him. It doesn't do any good because that video. Cornelia says, I feel that she would have done it either way. Cornelia says, but I have this feeling that it couldn't have ended any other way, but maybe you're right. Well, I think the question would be, you know, I don't know if you guys ever saw the video I did a couple years ago. It was titled House of Cards. if you look at the situation that was, that house of cards was crumbling down. It was falling down, man. Do you think that Christopher Watt's wife would have ever wanted to live in a cramped little apartment somewhere to do her live chats from, right? Do you think she would have ever been okay with that? Or do you think she would have ever been okay with losing the Lexus and having to drive an older model regular car that, everyone else on the planet would drive? Heaven forbid if it had any rust on it, right? Of course, I don't think it would have had rust on it in Colorado. Heaven forbid if it was just, I don't know, some little car that was good on gas mileage, right? Do you think she'd be sitting in her driveway if she had a little Ford Escort, taking pictures of herself and making videos? I mean, seriously, think about it. What if the tragedy had not occurred? How many weeks was it going to be before there was a judgment against her and Christopher Watts? How many weeks was it going to be before the house was foreclosed on? How many weeks before the Lexus was picked up by the dealership? So imagine Christopher Watt's wife clicking on to talk about her skincare MLM or her hair care product MLM or her purses MLM or her Band-Aids MLM, whatever MLM. Do you really think that she would have been excited about promoting herself on any of those MLM lives that she did if she was clicking on in a little 2-bedroom or maybe a 3-bedroom apartment and driving a Ford Escort? Not just any Ford Escort, a 10-year-old Ford Escort. Nurse Tara said she was bougie. I see it all says fake bougie. And I don't even get how people are saying that she really had it all. She had the perfect life and stuff. Do you get that from those videos? And people who say, oh, if you, I mean, even if you're a sub to this channel, then they're saying, oh, she's just jealous. She's just jealous of Christopher Watt's wife. Whenever they post that crap on the channel, I always say, jealous of what? Seriously, jealous of what? Please, tell us, jealous of what? She said herself she lost all of her friends, right? She said herself that she thought her mother-in-law was evil and her father-in-law was stupid, right? She said herself she was never going to go back to North Carolina to live, right? Jealous of what? She also said she had, how many diseases, right? Jealous of what? Fire says the divorce would have been Facebook content for months. Carla says, if you want a divorce as a husband and you know your wife is no good for the kids, what do you do? That must be very scary. Well, what you do, Carla, instead of doinking the coworker over the summer like he was doing, he should have hired a lawyer. He should have reached out for help at a shelter where they do have counselors who help men who are in that position. He should have sat down with the lender and tried to figure out if there was a way for him to save the house. Because remember, he had a good job, he had a good income, he had enough of an income to save that house. And he and the children could have lived there just fine as long as his income wasn't being spent for how many MLMs? 8, 9, 10, 12, right? That's what he should have done. Nurse Terry said that CW should have ran far away when his own family was abused and talked about like garbage. That was one giant red flag. That is so true. Nurse Terry said she wanted a Tesla next. No way would she be caught driving a Honda. Well, the whole idea that they're even test driving anything is just laughable. But hey, she had to keep on painting that image, right? Paul said, LOL, MM, laugh out loud. Or, oh, I can't believe I said that. Lots of love. Marie said, don't you do what Don't you do what CW did? Just kill everyone. It makes sense. Not. It doesn't make any sense at all. Why would he go from being the primary parent who was doing the girls' laundry, feeding the girls, cleaning the house, right? Why would he go from that to killing everyone? And what are, I don't know. Paula says CW needs to wake up and stop taking the blame for everything. SW was a time bomb that went off and no one did anything to stop her and save those kids. Lydia says SW would never have wanted to lose the McMansion. I don't even think it was a McMansion, was it? In that area, I don't think that that neighborhood is like one of the ooh la la neighborhoods. People have posted things on social media saying that that's not where the higher end homes were. I see it all as laughing. Sharon says, did Shannon open a Facebook in Bella's name as it now says remembering Bella Marie Watts? I wonder if it was just another account for Thrive. And that's something. Cornelia says, do you think she would have been okay? Boy, I got to tell you something. Where my computer is, where my desk is, I have a wall of windows. And man, two things. The sun is shining so bright right now, which I love, right? And the wind's going and stuff. It's like definitely feeling like spring. But the sun is so bright and so glaring that I'm sitting here reading these comments like, huh? I should probably go get my sunglasses on. So that's one thing. The other thing is when we're done with this live, man, I'm going to be washing some windows because you know how when the sun shines really bright, I can see where my dog likes to sit there. It's like, oh man, I've got some window washing to do. Oh, okay. So just a little tangent there. Sorry about that. So I'm reading kind of strange just because I'm going, what did they say? Cornelia says, do you think she would have been okay knowing that her children now had free access to the Watts? I don't think she would have been okay with that at all. And I think that's why she staged her whole nut meltdown routine. I think she knew dang well that all of these lies she was telling were about to become known, and the divorce was happening, and she was trying to get it on record somehow, I think, that, Cindy Watts was evil and Ronnie Watts was stupid and whatever else. So she could probably think that, I guess, that after the divorce, she could somehow control whether or not they were allowed to see the girls. I think she would have flipped her SHIT if she would have heard that he was taking the kids to see his parents, and she wouldn't have had any ability to stop it at all. So I think that's why she was working so hard to try to discredit Cindy Watts. Because you know what? Up until the night before her meltdown, she was actually close to her mother-in-law. Okay, just looked at the time. I'm going to try to zip through the comments quick and get back to the video because I'm talking too much right now. So we haven't watched the video that you guys came to see. Okay, let's see. She did open a Facebook for Bella. Cornelia says she did open a Facebook for Bella. I didn't know that. Well, actually, I think someone did say that. I told you guys about the gal who did the blog that we're talking about the other day because she had access to all that stuff. Okay, let's see here. Okay, I'm going to read kind of fast, so hang in there. Kara here says her ego could not take it. Sharon says, yeah, I'm a member of Watts group on Facebook and just saw it. Spacebound said, heck no. Judy says, good morning, everyone. This is a treat. Thanks for coming on, miss. I am looking at the pic you have on, and it occurred to me how violent SW spoke. CC busting her mouth gives me shivers. Yeah, we talked about that a little bit, Judy, about how she uses the death language in a lot of her posts. Sharon says, I've been called a sicko because I defended RW. Sandy says, jealous of the debt. Admit it, MM. LOL. Lots of love. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I'm not a credit card junkie at all. Not at all. I know a lot of people are. But I did receive a phone call from somebody who she either owned a store or worked there. And she waited on Christopher Watt's wife. And she told me that she had like a stack of cards and that she was shuffling them through because evidently, the first 1, 2, or 3 didn't work. She made the comment that she was shuffling them like they were a deck of cards. That would just be really confusing. I don't know. And just imagine, like, where did those bills go, right? The morning of the tragedy, she was getting a call from some debt collector in Minnesota. I don't know, how many credit cards did she have? How many, bills were really piling up? Like I said, Christopher Watts would have been just fine in that house without having to spend all the money to pay, for whatever she was buying with all those MLMs. And if you think about it, any apartment he would have gotten would have been as much as the house, maybe what, 500 less, maybe at the most. I mean, he was not going to be any better off in an apartment than he was the house. And the lenders don't want the houses back, as we've seen play out in this case too. They don't want the house. Okay. Lydia says, SW had the fakes. No, it's the sunshine issue here, you guys. I have the sun in my eyes. Oh, maybe I should just turn around. I don't know. What do you think? Lydia says, SW had the fakest life that I've ever seen. Nothing to be jealous of, in my opinion. Paula says, SW had nothing that I would have ever wanted. Curious says SW would have made that divorce drag out and would have tortured everyone. I don't think so, Curious. I think that she had more issues going on than what we've been aware of. And I think that he would have been able to have done very well in a divorce very easily. Paul says jealous that she was a stay-at-home mom with her kids in daycare, jealous that she was about to reach the 200K club with $27,000 worth of product in her basement. DG says CW was annoyingly passive. Yes, and that's a serious issue. That's a very serious issue because I don't think he was that passive when they met. I think he was conditioned. I think it was groomed. I think the day that she clobbered him and shoved his body right out the door and left him standing out in the cold with no car keys and no cell phone, I think that was training day 101. Marie said, except her beauty, Paula Joyner, LOL, lots of love. Paula said, I've heard people say that CW killed him because he did not want to pay child support. Oh my goodness, Paula, you bring up a really good point. And alimony, yeah, don't forget the alimony. Wrong. He would have been out hardly anything and likely nothing. And that is so true, Paula, so true. Sharon said, I heard that, Paula. Miss CD said she was going for the Audi next, but couldn't even pronounce it properly. Judy said, yeah, Paula. Paula said, hi, Judy. Nurse Sarah said, no, it was not a pretty house, in my opinion. The first one she had was, but not this one. Sharon said, I don't think there was an awful lot of furniture in that house either. And Nurse Tara, that first house, the storyline goes that she made money on it, right? After she built it, right? Come on. Anyone can do the math and know better. Nurse Tara says, I recall a post she made on Facebook stating when she was in North Carolina, she was house hunting. She had one picked out. Now, how in the heck was she going to purchase that? She was beyond broke. And I think she was way beyond reality too. And I say that seriously. I don't think she understood that she absolutely, there was no way in hell that she was going to be able to buy a house. You can't buy a house on a fake income. Now you can if you're able to have the owner of wherever you work, right, fill out some kind of income verification docs, maybe with a number that isn't true, I guess, right? Or you can if you're lying on whatever, but that's called fraud. The thought that she would have been able to have purchased a home, I think that house she was posting about to was like 300 and something. Like, yeah, okay, sure. With what? With what? Ricky said, I think in desperation, CW was hoping NK would be supportive and help CW be a single. I think he was a guy who knew he was about to be single and was jumping the gun on having his fun. Paula says that house was not that big or expensive. Why do people think she was rich? Sharon says, hate the sun shows all the dust too. Oh, I'll get my windows cleaned this morning. That's funny. That's the first thing I noticed. I'm like, oh, really? Okay. Thank you, sunshine. He says, I think SW had criminal genetics. I don't think genetics are criminal or criminal. Do you? I don't think so. That's the whole nature versus nurture. I think it's probably more nurture than nature. The heredity versus environment. I think it's more environment than heredity. Contrary Marge. Hey, Contrary Marge. Marge says, I wonder how many IDs she probably used opening lines of credit. I bet she probably used that nurse friend's info. She wanted her life. I don't know that she even wanted her life. I think she was struggling to try to figure out how she was supposed to appear. And I think she was copying her life or trying to copy her life. Jack said she complained about roof leaks on Facebook. Roof leaks? Her crappy cookie cutter, overpriced McMansion. And didn't the refrigerator break? Like, what's that about? Why did the refrigerator break in a brand new house? Refrigerators last decades. Jack says that my ex is a male, Shannon, spoiled, controlling, horrible with money, substance abuse, philanderer. Well, Jax, it sounds to me like you are an unlucky woman. He's your ex. Paula says Jack's LMAO, that cookie cutter and egg slicer she was proud of. Amanda says MM. It scrolled up. Hold on. MM. It says where, but I think you mean were. Were you the one I listened to about a year ago saying SW told CW to tell her mom she was 40? What was the point of her saying that? Do you think? Seems weird. Yes, Amanda, that was me. Before Cindy and Ronnie Watts met SW, SW said, come on, tell your mom I'm 40. That'll be funny to see a look on their faces when they meet me. And yes, Amanda, I do think it's very weird. And I think right then and there, he should have said, bye-bye. Sandy said that house looked creepy from the outside. I agree with you. Paula said, sorry, Jax, my lap dog hit my hand. March says, I think both he and Kay would have been fine starting a new life. T. Pickle says, you let Chris pick the outside colors of the house. Excuse me, she let him pick the outside colors since he was the only one buying it. Sandy says, the refrigerator broke. Her air conditioning was inside the walls. Maybe a few months after they moved in, that house was like she says, a hot mess. Pixie Doll's here. Hi, Pixie Doll. Marge says, that's odd. Not Pixie Doll, just the stuff we're talking about. Paula says, NA made a video telling us and others to F off if we think she and her son did anything wrong. Did she tell us, or did she just say people are saying that she or her son did anything wrong? And I would just clarify what I think. I think, quote, did anything wrong. My opinion, I think she knows more than what we've been told she knows. And I think it would be good to learn what it is that she knows and what her son knows. That's my opinion. And I'm curious too about the relationship, if it was some sort of a caregiver relationship. And I'm curious too about her questioning the police whether or not she was going to be arrested. I have one says, anyone figure out how SW could afford her first house? The one she somehow got on, quote, her own. Yeah, that's an interesting one, isn't it? It would be very interesting to see those income verification forms, definitely. Or to have a handwriting analyst take a look at them, close look at them. Sharon says, NA knows way more, and I wouldn't be surprised if she was there that morning, her and her son are, and then she said a word that we won't say. I think that she knows more than what we've been told she knows. My question would be also, could it be that she and her son both told the police everything they know, but it just wasn't included in any of the information that has been released to the public? Paula says people who think they did, I took it as us because she said channels. Ricky says, I know, right? Usually 20% down plus income. And it wasn't 20% down at all. In fact, just off the top of my head, I think it was less than 5%. Marge says, the kid tromps around in the house, zeroes in on the phone right off. Lavinia says, yes. She got the suitcase full of cash to buy that first house. I'm not sure because the divorce was actually before that by, I think, over a year, maybe even a year and a half. And also, lenders don't take kindly to people bringing a suitcase full of cash to a closing. So I'm kind of suspicious of that story, actually. I know it's been said for the last 2.5 years. I'm pretty suspicious of whether or not that's even true. So let me do this now. I'm going to click on this. Did we do this one? Let me see which one we're on. Okay, the dentist. Celeste's first dentist visit, brought on early from her busting her mouth yesterday. I see many of these visits in the future. Hashtag accident prone. That was September 23rd of 2016. And she's saying Shannon Watts is feeling ready at the dental group and orthodontics with Bella Marie and 2 others. Seems to me she always kind of had a lot of people with her whenever anything like that, had to be taken care of, right? Christy says, oops, it doesn't work to put it up there. Sorry. Hold on. What is wrong with these people? Their children certainly didn't come high up on their priorities. When I had my children, everything else, including myself, came second, and my husband was the same. Also, sounds like another made-up story. Yeah, I think so, Paul, about the suitcase full of cash. I think so too. Paula says N.A. and her son knew way too many details, and where things were found by them that morning tells me plenty. I do think that N.A. and her son know more than what we've been told. I do. I'm curious about the FU part. It's like, what? I mean, come on, right? Really? I don't know if people associated with this case just think that they have something special going on, that people who discuss true crime cases are supposed to be, pretending along that everything was perfectly normal. There is a true crime community, and we've been discussing true crime cases for decades. So it's really sad, I think, that people literally interject themselves. People who are associated with the case literally interject themselves in the true crime community and attempt to somehow control the narrative, I guess. Marge says, I think N.A. feels guilty for getting trashed with SW at the airport, then dropping her off in an aggressive, agitated state, causing the end it all fight. Interesting take on it, Marge. And I think that I would agree that if she dropped her off and drove on back home, that It would have made her feel like, oh my gosh, what could I have done differently, right? I think that's the most innocent view, right? And then, of course, like Paula said, that next day seemed pretty strange, having the son find that phone so fast and everything, that of course we're going to be discussing it in the true crime community. Of course we are. And of course there will be many of us who are going to be going, uh-huh, wonder what happened, right? Because that's what true crimers do. Okay, so now let's move to the next slide here and see what's next. It should go to the next slide here. Oh, here we go. It's buffering. Come on. Time to go to the next slide, please. Okay, here's one of what, in my opinion, is really one of the most disturbing photos of all. Take a look at this picture. So you walk in and you see your baby is covered up with this heavy blanket that should have never been in the crib in the first place. Absolutely wrapped up in this heavy blanket. This is not a baby blanket. What is that blanket even doing in the crib? And take a look at that sheet. We all know that the sheets on a crib are supposed to be taut. I think it's spelled T-A-U-T, but I'm not sure. Taut, not sloppy, right? Take a look at that sheet. Take a look at that mattress. Is that even in the crib? Or is that on some other surface? Do you take the time to grab your phone and take a picture? Is that what you would do when you see your baby? Look at the little feet. You can see your little baby is underneath this heavy blanket. Are you going to grab your phone and take a picture? Who would? Sharon, so you don't rush to move the blankets? You stop and take a picture? Curious says I would panic. I wouldn't even have my phone with me while checking on the baby. Well, if I had my phone in my hand, the phone would have dropped to the floor as I ran over to grab that blanket off the baby. And here's something else. When we first started discussing this photo in late 2018, the attackers were all over it, saying that the children liked to sleep with their faces covered. Really? Chrissy says no one could pull that heavy blanket over itself staged. I agree with you. But unfortunately, I think it was staged before, long before the photo was taken. Sharon said, did her friends find this picture disturbing? Well, people who were attacking us back in late 2018 say that the babies liked to sleep with their faces covered. Let's take a look at what other pictures we have in this video called Photo Op. There we go. Here's another one. Another photo. You walk into the baby's room. We can see the bars of the crib here. You walk into the baby's room, and this is what she says. Let's see what the date is on this. The date is January 8th of 2017. This is, quote, how Celeste likes to sleep. It's interesting also to note that in this particular one, as with many of the other ones, I have X'd out the names of who she says she is with. It just seems pretty interesting to me that she's always with someone, it seems, right? Or maybe it's actually the kids who are actually with someone else. But she had other adults in the house. And she's taking a picture of this. She had other adults in the house, and the child is left for how long? With her face covered? Let's see what the next one looks like. And I'll tell you, seriously, this is disturbing. One picture, maybe, right? But come on, you put all these pictures together? I don't know. Bruises on top of her wrist. Now, the people attacking say that that's because she had some sort of IV or something. Well, I don't know. I didn't find the post about any IV. And this video, too, if I'm right, this video was, I think, Christopher Watts getting home from work. I'm not sure. Was this the one where Bella walked in the door and said she wanted to go to bed? I'm not sure. I think it may have been. And in this video, Cece is eating, I think it was Fruit Loops. And then she wanted more Fruit Loops. And then Christopher Watts' wife told him to get her more Fruit Loops. Okay? So I don't know. He told the police that his wife would make pizza and noodles, but evidently this night it was Fruit Loops. I mean, come on. This is just, and I don't care if kids have cereal for dinner one night or whatever, but you know what I'm saying. This is a child who we're told has serious allergies, very serious allergies, right? Well, if you've ever had a child with very serious allergies, you know that what you feed them is very important. Busy Mom 2 says, Mensa, you can tag friends on Facebook, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we know that. But it's interesting who she's tagging and when. And if you take a look at all of the posts and analyze the timeline, then I don't think she's just randomly picking different people to tag. Especially when she's saying she's with them as opposed to tagging. I see it all said this video or this photo was a video. She said it was dirt on her wrist. Eating cereal, wow, can't believe it. It's not at all trying to be hypercritical of anything, okay? Kids love having breakfast for dinner. Not a big deal. But my point is that if you have a child who you're claiming is deathly allergic and severely anaphylactic and all that stuff, I think we'd be seeing foods other than what Christopher Watts said were, dinners that were typically pizza and noodles or Fruit Loops, okay? You see what I'm saying or no? Nurse Tara makes a good point. For being in the doctor's office constantly, you'd think she'd know. You don't put children in cribs with big blankets or pillows, like she was asking for SIDS. I didn't know that, Sandy. Sandy said, did you know that the ingredients of Fruit Loops contain coconut? Let's take a look at what the next one looks like. This is one of the videos that is really alarming. If you haven't seen it yet, good luck trying to find it. This is the one where she's spraying poor little Bella right in the eyes. And the people attacking us say, oh, Bella was having fun. She was having a good time. Oh, yeah, that's why she tried to run away. This is the one where Christopher Watts' wife said, don't you save her, when he opened the slider door so Bella could run away from her mother. This is also the one where her mother was laughing, and she said, this is why we had kids. This might take a while to get to the next slide because I think I'm probably talking a lot on this video. If the sound were better, let's see if we can hear it. And he didn't. And then she went on to laugh and say, this is why we had kids. There we go. Okay, the next one says, okay, this is Cece jumping on the furniture, okay? And let's see, I have to take a look here. December 11 of 2016, okay? December 11 of 2016. Does anybody in the chat know the significance of that date? December 11 of 2016. Well, go ahead and tell you. Do you remember the video that we did the last time or the time before last, I think it was, where the kids were sick? Both kids are sick again. Both kids are sick again, over and over and over again. December of 2016, she reported both kids were very sick for many days in a row. I think it was like 9 days straight and then another week after that, or I think the next month it was for a full 9 days or something. Just a ridiculous length of time, right? December of 2016 is also when the people who are insisting there was an open CPS case claim that she was caught for medically abusing both children. So let's see what this one says. Let's see here. It says December 11 of 2016, She says, quote, "This kid is going to put me in the crazy house." From yesterday's scare to standing up on a rocking chair, she fell on the back of her head today and face first, tripping over her own feet. And then she did a hashtag full-time work right here. And then she did hashtag trouble, hashtag love, hashtag keep me busy, hashtag ER kid. You know, you guys, we've all been busy moms, right? Are you going to sit there and go hashtag this and hashtag that and hashtag this and come on, hashtag ER kid. Contrary Marge says sofa jumping is all those kids ever got to do. Chrissy says, why did no one see what she was doing to poor Bella and worse, not do anything about it? Because they are all about themselves too. Paula says, poor Cece, that time she smeared her poop all over. She did a video of that and said I gave her milk. What the H? This one's going on for a while here. I must have been talking a lot on this one too. We've seen so many inconsistencies with her claims already that I just don't believe at all that the hospital was allowing her to do 90% of her job from home. Her job was to answer the phone for the hospital, right? How does that work exactly? Sorry, 90% of her job from home, it just seems ludicrous to me. If you know, if you have any information about that, you know, opportunity to work from home 90% of the time, then please do let us know. Because we're curious, that's for sure. So this was 1 week, I'm sorry, 1 week before both girls ended up in the hospital or at the hospital, very ill. I think they had croup or something, which still makes me wonder about those nebulizers too and what she was putting in them. She says, this kid is going to put me in the crazy house. From yesterday's scare to standing up on a rocking chair, she fell on the back of her head today and face first, tripping over her own feet. She fell on the back of her head today and face first, tripping over her own feet. Wow. I just saw the comment. I want to scroll up and see who posted it. Marge said, hashtag Munchausen by Roxy. I agree, Marge. I agree. There was a hashtag that Christopher Watt's wife missed. Okay, here's the one that if you guys are eating your breakfast or anything, you might not want to listen to this. I'll go ahead and read what Christopher Watt's wife posted. Let's see here. Here it is, June 1st of 20 something or other, 2016. June 1st of 2016. It says, quote, warning, if you have sensitive stomach, done read, D-O-N-E. So Celeste didn't sleep as long as she normally does at nap today. So I go get her and she had something brown on mouth. I thought, well, Maybe I forgot to wipe her before nap. Bad mommy. She then turns her head to laugh, and the same brown stuff is in her ear and on head. Pick her up to find poop bubbling out of her diaper. That post has 44 likes. But again, remember that her Facebook profile is open to the public following the tragedy. So I don't know. Evidently, her fans think it's funny that Cece had poop on her mouth. Nicole says, have you actually hurt yourself? What is it like being the perfect parent? Kids have accidents, some kids more than others. Nicole, yes, we have actually hurt ourselves. We happen to be the channel in the true crime community that actually is focusing on what poor little Bella and Cece suffered through. Kids do have accidents, you're right. However, kids do not typically get sick every few weeks. They do not typically require Benadryl and Tylenol every night before bedtime or at bedtime or actually at dinner time, but then they go to bed for 12 hours or more. Kids usually do not have familial Mediterranean fever, especially two kids in one family, or both have asthma or both need surgery on the same day or both, well, you get the idea. Nobody is talking about expecting anybody to be perfect. What we're talking about on this channel is what we believe, many of us have the opinion anyway, was obviously a problem and one which should have been addressed so that poor little Bella and Cece were not subjected to being sick all the time. So yeah, we have listened. We've listened to our own opinions on this case, and we've listened to each other's opinions on this case. And on this channel, we're discussing our opinions on the case. And by the way, you are welcome to discuss your opinions on this case. But if you're just showing up to post your shit, we have zero tolerance here for that. So, discuss the case, okay? Discuss your opinions on the case, and you're welcome to hang out with us. So the next one shows Cece in the toilet. And it says, February 16 of 2017, I was washing lunch dishes and heard mommy, I guess she's ready to use the potty. She forgot to pull her seat down, LOL. Hashtag she pooped. I don't know how well you can see that picture, but to me, this picture looks staged. And what is the thing with poop? I don't know. Is that just me, or do you think that there's someone talking about poop a lot? Well, I must be talking a lot in this video. If I try to advance it though, then I go too far. So let's see here. I'll try anyway. There's that. Let's see. There's that one. Sorry, you guys, this is taking longer than I thought it would to make our way through this video. There's one in between. There we go. I don't have date on this one. This is Bella. And I think, not sure, but I think it's the one where she fell off of the thingamajigger they had in the backyard, I think. Oh, it's buffering. The next one is the baby sleeping underneath wrapping paper. So it looks like that must be Cece, right? There's Dieter to the right. And it looks like Bella to the left, and it looks like Christopher Watt's wife behind Bella. So take a look at this picture. Okay. Why was there wrapping paper over the baby? Why? Oh, okay. That's not Dieter. Okay. Judy says the dog is not Dieter, that is Sandy's dog. So why is the wrapping paper over the baby? And the next question is, let's just say the baby put the wrapping paper over her own face, which I highly doubt. Why didn't someone take it off? And I think the next question is, why take a picture of it? Why not take it off of the baby's face? That's not the baby. That's not Dieter. That's a doll. Jetta from Texas says that's not the baby. Really? Is that one of those life-size dolls? Is that what you're saying? So that's a toy? If you have, whoever you are from Texas, was it Jetta or something from Texas? There you are. If you do you have photos from that same time frame? If you do, feel free to email them. Because to me, it looks like it's little Cece. But if I'm wrong, I'm happy to say so. That's kind of interesting, actually, if that is the doll, which I don't think it is. I think it's the baby. But let's just say it's the doll. Kind of interesting that the same little girl who uses toys to try to take rectal temperatures, you know, would cover the baby's face while she's sleeping. Lydia says poor Bella got the brunt of it. I do think so too. I agree with that. I do agree with that. Christy says if my kids fell, the mobile would be thrown. Same here. Okay, here we are in the next one. Busted her mouth? Let's take a look here. First, I'm going to take a look at I have a bigger picture here. of the one before. I don't think that's a doll. I don't think so. Do you think so? I don't know. I don't think so. But it could be. So let's see. Busted her mouth. Shannon Watts is with Ella Marie Watts and two others on September 22nd of 2016. And she posts on her Facebook, quote, "Is it nap time yet? This kid has me on my toes, that's for sure. Busted her mouth, then continues to climb things. I was given 5 kids in one with this one." This is a photo that a lot of people in the true crime community have a problem with. Take a look at those fingers pushing her mouth back. Marge says if Bella had lived to be a tween, she would have fought back defending Cece. She was very protective of Cece, wasn't she? Poor Bella, I think she felt she had the weight of the world on her little shoulders. Jay says that the grandparents were scared of pissing off SW. It does seem like everyone's, like Cindy Watts said, walking on eggshells around her, doesn't it? Right. Look at how she's doing that with her fingers on poor little Cece's mouth, pressing those nails right in like that. And what did she do? What? In her left hand, she's reefing on her daughter's mouth, and in her right hand, she's got her camera going. Hold still, Cece. You got to take a picture of this, right? I'll try to advance it to the next one here. You guys, we're going to be at this all day. This is taking a lot longer than I thought it would. Of course, it would help if I knew what I was doing with this techno stuff. Okay, this one. Oh, it skipped past one. Here's one. We're almost there. Here we go. Here's one. You know, the people who are always attacking us for having a discussion, they're like, one picture, just one picture of Cece climbing up to get a drink, big deal, you know. Except it wasn't just one time. There's another time. Let's take a look at the dates on those. The first one, I don't have a date, I just have a photo. The second one, May 22nd of 2017. She posts this photo, right? Remember, we saw the video where she's standing behind the doorway, kind of just watching Cece struggle. Then Cece knew she was there at one point and she started asking for help. Okay? But you got to take that picture, right? On this one, she posted this photo and said, quote, "Oh shit, I'm busted!" Exclamation point, and then little emojis that are, laughing. This was, oops, it went too fast. Hold on. I want the picture in between these two, and it just won't. There it is. Okay. This was posted at the same time as the one with her pinky that had the bruises on it, saying that she saved her from falling off the couch, I think she said. But then in another post, she said she saved her from falling on the cement. Either way, it doesn't look to me like she saved her from getting injured. Here, do you remember the video that I posted that Cindy Watts sent me of the girls jumping on the trampoline at their Mimi and Papa's house? And remember how all of a sudden Bella was like, saying that she couldn't jump anymore. She had to sit down. Here's one of the photos from that batch of information. This says major egg, question mark. Once again, it's Cece, I think. Oh, I missed one photo. Sorry. Hold on here. I missed two. Ooh, I missed a few photos here. Watch out. Okay. When I try to move it ahead, then I'm missing one. So here. Okay, we saw that one, right? We saw that one. We saw that one. Oh, maybe I didn't miss it. Where the heck is major egg? Let me see. Well, that's interesting because I don't have major egg. Wait, okay, I found it. Major egg, July 21st of 2016. Shannon Watts posts on her Facebook, quote, "I see many hospital visits with this crazy monkey. Walking plus corner wall equals major egg. Hashtag my boy child. Hashtag my daredevil. Hashtag walking equals more injuries. Hashtag fun times." And I just double checked, and there is another photo before this one that we missed. I'm going to try to see if I can move it really careful. It's right after that. Here it is. This is Bella in the pool at her Mimi and Papa's house. And if you notice, can you see my arrow? I'm putting the arrow right by where it looks like there's bruising on her upper arm. And then the major egg, hashtag fun times. And the next one says, Shannon Watts is with Bella Marie Watts and 3 others on July 21st, 2016. Somebody else posted that their child did the same thing when she started walking. It seems like they do the head injuries before they're supposed to go to sleep, too. And Christopher Watts' wife replied, "Ha, right, literally getting ready to put her to bed, and bang, she's learning how to stay longer." And want to point out there were no likes at all on that comment, none. So again, we're told repeatedly how she had such a massive following of people. It seems like one of them would have clicked like. HCN makes a good point that they've never seen two kids so happy to go to school, and then comments that at school there's water available. Okay, the next one, Too Much Time in the Crib. Let's see, Shannon Watts added a new photo to the album CeCe's Shenanigans. That's the name of her photo album, CeCe's Shenanigans. Have you ever noticed that before? That one of the photo albums, evidently to document this sort of thing, she titled CeCe's Shenanigans. Dated June 8th, 2017. Quote, Celeste was in a romper when I put her down for a nap. This photo is June 27th of 2018. June 27th of 2018. And she said, asked for nap time. This one is dated January 31st of 2017. That's an important date because remember, December and January were interesting times in the Watts household, right? She writes, quote, last night before we left, I fixed CeCe. She was sleeping, sitting up. She knew if she wanted to breathe better, she would with sitting up. LOL, poor baby. Even used pillow to hold her up. Last night before we left, I fixed CeCe. She was sleeping, sitting up. She knew if she wanted to breathe better, she would with sitting up. LOL, poor baby. Even used pillow to hold her up. If your baby is having such difficulty breathing that they need to sit up in order to breathe, your baby needs medical attention. The next picture is the one that I call, hang on, CeCe. You got to take a look at this. It should be coming up. If I try to advance it by myself, I'm going to go too far. So I'll just wait a minute and let it advance on its own. Take a look at this picture. Take a look at this picture, seriously. Now tell me, what's the excuse for standing there taking a picture instead of grabbing the kid? What is the excuse? Can you imagine being that child? Ask yourself, how did she get in that position to begin with? I mean, if she was frogging around up on the landing and she fell, lost her footing somehow, how on the third step would she have already been face first going down the stairs? Hang with me on this. How did she get in that position already in the first two steps? If she was on the landing, right, and she somehow fell, then how? Because if she's going to be falling down the stairs, seems to me like she would have still been on her butt at that point. And how, if she's up on the landing all by herself, and okay, she's carrying one of her blankets, right? Let's just say she was walking down the stairs. And what was the date on this again? Was it 2017? Oh, there isn't a date on this part of it. I have it, but I don't have it on this photo. But she looks plenty old enough, right, to walk down the stairs. No problemo. So let's say that she tripped on her blanket. Okay, so she's walking down the stairs, she tripped on her blanket, and kaboom, she wipes out. Is she already on step number 1, 2, 3? Is she already able to have her hands out and look at how tightly she's holding that top landing area, right, with her foot? And she stopped herself, is what we're supposed to believe by this photo. Hey, I'm not kidding here, you guys. I'm not a photo forensic expert or anything, but I'm not stupid, okay? And neither are any of you. When we look at this photo, how is it that she was able from the landing to the 1, 2, 3rd step, okay? How is it that she was able to stop herself at that point? Because if she's falling from the landing, she's still going to have momentum going, right? Exactly. That's what I'm saying, Marge. I think it is absolutely staged, because she would have either been continuing to fall and she wouldn't have been face first, both hands down, right foot hanging on that landing, right? There's no way she would have been in that position, stopped at that point, so close to losing her footing. I think this photo was staged, and I think that it was staged so that her mother could continue with this narrative that she was just so busy, right? Sorry, I muted it. I saw your comment. I think you said you were wondering if I was sleeping or whatever. And so I was going to comment that, you know, when I'm sleeping, you'll hear the snoring. So you know I'm awake if I'm not snoring. So anyway, I do think that this photo was staged. And I think that it must be awfully confusing for a small child if their mother's telling them to just hold on just a minute for the picture, right? I don't think, I mean, if any of you are interested in taking a look at this closer, you know, more closely and saying, wait a minute, this just logic would dictate that if she lost her footing on landing, that would not be the position she would be in at that point. And the only way she would have lost her footing would have been probably tripping on the blanket, or if she had ear infections going on, she might have had a balance issue. Okay. So think about it. Yes, also the toilet picture. Exactly. I don't think she was that far down into the toilet without having her mother stand there going, do what I say. You know, I mean, this is just weird to me to look at this photo, you know, 2.5 years later and to go, wait a minute. Because when I first did this video a long time ago, a couple years ago, I thought she was actually falling. And her mother basically said, well, hang on just a minute while I get a good picture here, right? But if she was actually falling, she would not have been stopped at that point of her fall, right? But if any of you want to dig into it deeper and analyze this, you know, further, I'd be really interested to hear what you guys think. I hesitate to try to move it forward because then I miss pictures. And then I think I take longer trying to move it forward. Let me check and see if this is the next one or not. Yes, that's the next one. Okay, I don't see a date on it, but it says, quote, yup, YUP, this is how she woke up this morning. She's that kid. So that's how she woke up? Really? Her leg in between the bars? Really? Take a look at this picture. Let me tell you something. If you walk in and you see your baby wrapped up with their head wrapped up with a blanket and you're taking a picture, right? Why? Why wouldn't you immediately rush over to the crib and remove the blanket? At this point, this is just a pity party, have a good time fam. Chrissy says, obsessed with suffocation. Ricky says, SW was propped up and enabled throughout her marriage. Mrs. Fluffer says, trying hard to do SIDS. Now take a look at this one. Take a look at her hand on the pillow. You're supposed to believe that this is how the kids wanted to sleep, right? With their faces covered. Sandy makes a good point. What's the purpose of having monitors if you're not going to watch a kid? That poor baby was probably in severe pain with her leg caught in the bars. Take a look at that little hand. You can see it at the bottom of the pillow, right? That hand is not relaxed. That hand is clenched on the pillow. Clenched. If that baby was sleeping in this picture, seems to me that her hand would not have been clenched on the pillow. There are only a couple more pictures here. So that's good because I know I'm keeping you guys a lot longer than I planned on it to go through this whole video. Here it is. Oops. Oh no. Oh, hold on. We saw that one. Saw that one. And now it's buffering, of course. Here's the next one. And this was dated March 17 of 2015. Love watching her sleep. Well, you know, maybe she should have been getting her away from the edge of the crib. Just saying. This one has 22 likes and 1 comment with somebody saying love her PJs. And that comment got 1 like. So I think that the 22 likes were probably after the tragedy happened because the Facebook account was still open for that comment to only get 1 like. This one is December 1st of 2014. Bella still thinks she's small enough to sleep sideways in her crib. This one looks like it had 3 likes. So again, we're told over and over again how these, you know, Facebook lives and all that were so, you know, she had such a big following, right? Well, I think she would have had more than 3 likes. Oh wait, I've got to do the arrow thing here. Otherwise it won't change pictures. Ah, how I do that every time. Okay, let's try this again. We saw that one. Saw that one. Saw that one. See what happens when I try to advance. Then I have no idea why it's doing that. Hold on. I'm just going to let it go by itself because when I try to advance it, then I take up more time than if it would just go by itself. Okay, there's the doll photo one that somebody's saying it might actually be a doll photo. I don't think so. I think that's, but I could be wrong. Like I said, I could be wrong. Okay, now this one is from August 13 of 2016. Shannon Watts is with Bella Marie Watts and 2 others. This is what she says. Quote, both my girls sleep like their mommy, covered all up. LOL. Both my girls sleep like their mommy, covered all up. LOL. Do you see how the baby has her face absolutely covered? Here's a photo of Bella and Cece when they were in the hospital. And here comes the last picture. And I don't know about you, but to me, this picture is very disturbing. Lydia says, I remember in the pie face video, that's the one I call the Whack-A-Daddy video, that SW grabbed Bella's arm and Bella was rubbing it afterwards. Paul said, exactly, Jay. No wonder Jay Al said he had to unfollow her. Pixie Doll says, red feet. The back of her head looks flat from laying down. Her hair's rubbed off too. The crib hair. So what do you think of them apples, huh? That is the end of the video titled Photo Op that I did, I think, a couple of years ago. I think it was back in late 2018. It might have been in early 2019. I'll tell you, this video got reported probably more than any other. Well, and if you think about where her position is in the crib, way up toward the edge like that, it makes you wonder how long she was in the crib. Why is her feet so red? Well, that's the $1 million question. Chrissy, I was thinking the same thing. But it's kind of hard to tell because of the whole diaper and stuff. You know, it's kind of hard to tell in a picture. But I kind of wondered about that in one of those jumpy seat pictures. I agree, Marge. I agree. Marge says those poor kids. And you know, let me think how to do this here. There, that's how I did it. I figured out how to do it. Yay. Um, the people who get all pissy because we're discussing this case and we're looking at all these issues, it's really mind-boggling to think that they don't get it, that they're not able to see what it is we're discussing. And what we're talking about isn't about whether or not Christopher Watt's wife could do anything different now, for Pete's sake. It's about whether or not other parents could learn from this case, right? It's about how we can gain awareness about issues that we could hopefully then help other parents with. It's about other children like Bella and Cece. Maybe their mother is taking their temperature on a daily basis using a rectal thermometer. And maybe if they hear the discussion, they'll say, hey, wait a minute. What am I doing? Maybe there's a guy out there who's listening who has a wife who is taking his children's temperature on a daily basis using a rectal thermometer, and he can say, wait a minute, what is she doing? Maybe there's somebody who has a friend who has been posting crap on a regular basis that their kids are sick all the time. And maybe the friend can be a friend and say, hey, wait a minute. What are you doing? Real Justice just posted a cute one. World famous, world's greatest, world leading, world expert, and world's most trusted name in the CW game here, party people. Miss Merriweather says, honestly, I can't see this situation ending in any way other than tragically. It could have. It could have if Christopher Watts would have gotten whatever counseling he needed in order to be able to say no to his wife. Just look at the financial situation. You know, we would hope that with the children that he would have stood up to this BS, right? But no, what did he do? Oh, he, left work and went to the emergency room, right? Did he ever wonder? Did he have any support? Did he have anybody in his life saying, this isn't okay. We're worried about you. What the hell? Or, what do you mean the kids are sick again? What is really going on? Chrissy said he didn't dare to stand up to her. But you know what? Before there were laws protecting women and children, there were a lot of women who didn't dare to stand up to their abusive husbands. But when they realized, when they recognized that their children were being harmed, they found the strength. They figured it out. They reached out for help. They didn't have any laws to protect them. If they called the police, they might get laughed at, right? And I've said this before, if Christopher Watts and his wife wanted to get married and file bankruptcy after bankruptcy and pretend to themselves that they were actually making any money off of signing up for a bunch of MLMs, that's their problem. But once they had one child together, then that child had to matter more than their apparent need to pretend that they were somehow successful. That child deserved to be protected. Both Bella and Cece deserved to be protected. And I get it. I think he was afraid to speak up, right? But he had to dig in deep for the strength to say no. That photo of Bella standing out on the back deck with her mother sitting there spraying her right in the face, right? Christopher Watts shut the slider on Bella. He was so passive. that he shut the cider on Bella when she was trying to run away from her mother. Just imagine what might have been happening when the camera was off. PJ says to Jay, who told us that it is over now, PJ replied, Jay, many crimes are over now, but people are still talking about different crimes. And what I respond typically, PJ, is, okay, are you saying the same thing? And I don't mean you, I mean Jay. Is Jay saying the same thing over on the Avery discussion channels or on the Routier discussion channels, right? Never in over a decade of belonging to the actual true crime community have I seen people saying, it's over. Stop discussing it. It's over. Because that's what true crimers do. We discuss true crime cases. And, you know, people say, well, it's closed. It's a closed case. Don't discuss it any longer. That's a surefire hint that the person saying it is not a true crimer. Because true crimers don't discuss open cases. We discuss closed cases. That's what we do. Ms. Merriweather says, I feel sure that CW had no support due to ignorance. People are truly lost and confused. We all want to change that. This case could be the landmark case for the battered male syndrome. This case could be the landmark case, even above and beyond the case of Gypsy Rose Blanchard, I think her last name was, for Munchausen by proxy. Because, I'll tell you why, the Gypsy Rose Blanchard case was so over the top, right? It was so sensationally odd and weird and crazy, right? That people would look at photos of them and go, ooh, kind of, right? Weird. And even in that case, there was a doctor, an MD, who recognized Munchausen by proxy. And he hesitated to say anything because he knew that nobody in the community would listen to him. He knew that his voice would not be heard. Okay. He recognized it, and he admitted later that he thought about making his opinion known, but there was such a community effort, you know, to help this woman and her child that he knew that nobody would believe him. This case is so subtle in so many ways because, you know, of the vacations and the Lexus and whatever, right? This case could be right up there with the case of O.J. Simpson, because before the case of O.J. Simpson, people, for the most part, did not believe that domestic violence took place in certain zip codes. Okay? Or the case of Betty Broderick, where people were like, well, she didn't have any problems because she had money. So what was her problem? She wasn't abused, right? It's the same thing with this case for men. This case, I believe, is the landmark case for the battered male syndrome, and more importantly than Christopher Watts. This is the case where people can learn that if your friend is using Facebook to tell you how their kids are sick constantly, then look deeper, question it. Reach out and see if you can help your friend get some help. Dorothy says, what truly bothers me is the way SW refers to her children as kiddos, kids, monsters, crazy, etc. Sandy said she made sure he had no support when she moved him cross country. Isolation is the first step. We all know that, right? Isolation. If you know barely anything at all about domestic violence and child abuse, isolation is the first step. And remember in that interview, I think it was either Ronnie or Cindy who touched on that they felt that she was trying to isolate him from his family. Ricky says, could we send CW a letter in prison and all of us sign it? I don't know what I would ever want to say to him except man up. And I don't mean to be crude with saying that, but he needs to man up. He needs to tell the truth. He needs to tell the truth about what happened to his children. He needs to tell the truth about what was happening to his children all of their lives. You know, he's going to be in prison for the rest of his life. But if he was being honest and open, he could actually help other children by sharing exactly what he knows. Were they actually sick when his wife was posting all of those times that they were sick again? Were they actually sick? Were they actually in the emergency room that many times? Were they actually at the doctor's office that many times? Did he believe that they had familial Mediterranean fever? You know, I would love to send him a questionnaire more than a letter. But who knows, right? He'd probably hand it off to whoever it is, you know, the flavor of the week or whatever, the flavor of the month, whoever it is he's supposedly talking to this month, and they'd probably fill it out for him. I mean, hey, if people are claiming that they've retained lawyers on his behalf, then I'm sure they'd be filling out the questionnaire for him too. Real Justice says if CW listens to me, he will get out of prison. Really? Tell us more. Because I don't think he's ever going to get out of prison. I think he's right where he will always be. Chrissy says he shouldn't get life for being scared of his wife's wrath. Well, I do think if he was a female, that it would have been handled very differently. I think if he was a female, then he would have gone to trial and he would have probably presented evidence which would support, I would think, his claim initially that he did not murder his children. Marge, I think you and I are kind of on the same page. I don't want to sound really super negative about that, but you know what? Had he gone to trial and had the evidence presented at trial convinced me that there was reasonable doubt as to whether or not he was guilty of killing Bella and Cece, then I might be of the opinion that this poor guy, right? This poor guy. Because if the roles were reversed, if this was a gender neutral case, and if it was a woman who claimed that she killed her husband after he killed their children, I think most of us would be going, well, hallelujah, honey, right? And oh boy, dead or not, we'd be bashing her spouse, right? Right and left. And nobody would be saying, stop talking about a dead person. Nobody would be saying, you're just jealous, right? But he's a man. Okay? So had it gone to trial, and had he maybe not been allowed to present evidence, right? Certain evidence. And I felt he really got an unfair shake at trial. Then I would be thinking, you know what? He doesn't deserve this. But here we are 2.5 years later. And how many stories has he told? I mean, what is all this weird stuff with him having all these pen pals and dealing with all these different people, right? What is his program? Bella and Cece have been murdered. And it's been over 2.5 years. And notice that all of the channels, all of the videos that get leaked, all of the audio tapes that get leaked, all the letters that get leaked, all the authors who claim they've had, whatever contact with him, all the girlfriends who claim they've had whatever contact with him. Is the focus ever on Bella and Cece? Does he ever say anything at all consistent with his claim? Why is it that, how many of us are there? 155 of us are sitting here talking about Bella and Cece and how we feel so bad that Bella and Cece seem to be suffering through so much crap. Why is it that our energy is spent on examining what the hell happened leading up to the tragedy, right? And I'll just bet you that while we're focused on his children, while we're focused on Bella and Cece Watts, he's probably writing a letter to another woman who he thinks he's calling, his next girlfriend. But remember, he's the same guy who shut the slider door on Bella when his wife said, "Don't you save her." How warped is he? I don't know. How many years will it be before he can come to grips with the whole tragedy? Is that what he's doing? Is he just kind of staying in denial of how bad it was? I don't know. But I do know this. This video took a lot longer to get through than I thought it would. So you guys all have better things to do than to hang out on YouTube. And so do I. So we're going to go ahead and wrap this up right now. And then I'll hop on, I think probably Friday evening. I'll go ahead and hop on and we can talk about this some more. So thank you all for joining us. It was a pretty dynamic conversation, I think. And we will see each other again soon in a couple of days. We'll do this again. And continue to keep our focus in the case discussion on what poor little Bella and Cece suffered through. Because if just one child can be saved, if just one child can be saved from medical abuse, if just one husband can say, I need help, and actually reach out and get some help to protect his children, right? If just one child can be saved, hallelujah, then you're darn right. We'll keep talking about it. We'll keep trying to promote awareness. We'll keep discussing issues of public concern that we see glaring in the case of Christopher Watts. So y'all have a great day, and we'll see you in a couple days, and we'll talk some more. Remember, be safe, be healthy, and know that you are loved and appreciated. And some of you are actually kind of a hoot. So LOL, lots of love to all of us BOBs. See you later.